Rain lashes Detroit's empty streets, hammering the rusted roof of Marcus Hayes's small apartment above Hayes Repairs, his struggling auto shop. At 38, Marcus wipes grease from his calloused hands, exhaustion heavy in his bones. Rent's due tomorrow. His fridge holds only a half-empty ketchup bottle, and his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, tosses with a stubborn fever in her tiny room. It's past midnight, the city quiet except for the storm's roar, when a faint knock breaks the silence, soft, almost swallowed by the wind. Marcus hesitates, mistrust sharp in a world that's rarely kind, but opens the garage door to find Elena Voss, 29, soaked to the skin, her designer jacket torn, clutching a muddy backpack like it's all she owns. Her eyes, bruised and tired, meet his with a plea. "Just need somewhere dry, please." Marcus sees Sophie's fevered face in his mind, feels the weight of his last dollar, but something in Elena's shiver pulls him. "Couch upstairs," he says gruffly. "No trouble." As she steps in, dripping, Marcus wonders if this choice will save or sink him, the rain hiding secrets yet to unfold. Don't miss what's next. Hit subscribe and ring the bell for more stories that hit home. The storm claws at Detroit's underbelly, rain hammering the cracked windows of Marcus Hayes's apartment above Hayes Repairs, where the air smells of oil and worry. Marcus, 38, stands in the dim kitchen, the single bulb flickering as he watches Elena Voss, the stranger he let in just hours ago, settle on his worn couch. Her soaked jacket hangs by the door, revealing a bruise blooming on her shoulder, dark against her pale skin, and her backpack, monogrammed EV, sits tight against her chest like a shield. Marcus's eyes flick to Sophie's bedroom, where his 8-year-old daughter's feverish coughs pierce the night, each one a reminder of the empty fridge, the $200 rent due tomorrow, and the pharmacy's closed sign. He hands Elena a threadbare blanket, its edges frayed from years of use, and mutters, "You warm enough?" She nods, her fingers trembling, not just from the cold he senses, but something deeper, something she's not saying. "You in trouble?" he asks, voice low, careful not to wake Sophie. Elena's head shakes too quickly, her eyes darting to the floor. "Just needed a break from everything." Marcus knows better than to push. Secrets don't spill easy in a city like Detroit, where trust is a luxury he can't afford. He nods, stepping back, but his gut twists, wondering what he's let into his home. Sophie's cough grows sharper, and he crosses to her door, peering at her small form tangled in sheets, her cheeks flushed red. He wants to call a doctor, but his phone's got no data, and his last $10 went to gas. Elena's gaze follows him, heavy, like she sees the weight he carries, but she stays quiet, clutching the blanket tighter. Marcus sinks to the floor by Sophie's bed, back against the wall, listening to the storm's howl and the creaks of the old building, his eyes never fully closing. He's used to sleepless nights, years of scraping by after his wife, Lila, left, blaming him for their drowning debts. But tonight, a stranger's presence makes the dark feel sharper, like a blade he can't see. Dawn creeps in, gray and sluggish, painting the apartment in shadows. Marcus rises, joints stiff, and brews his last tea bag in a chipped mug, the water barely warm from a faltering heater. Elena's awake, sitting up, her backpack still close, her face softer now but guarded, like someone who's learned to expect the worst. He offers her the tea, and she takes it with a faint smile, her fingers brushing the mug's warmth as if it's a rare gift. "Didn't have to do that," she says, voice low, almost lost in Sophie's distant coughs. "Didn't have to let you stay," Marcus replies, not unkindly, his eyes scanning her. Designer sneakers, scuffed but new, and that bruise, fresh enough to tell a story she won't share. Silence settles, thick but not hostile, the kind that comes when two people know the world's hard but don't need to say it. Marcus checks on Sophie, her fever holding steady, her small hand hot in his. He whispers, "Hang in there, kid," his voice cracking, wishing he could trade his own strength for hers. Back in the living room, Elena's at the window, staring at Detroit's wet streets, her posture stiff, like she's waiting for something or someone. At 7:10 a.m., she pulls a slim phone from her backpack, its screen glinting in the dim light, and dials a number. Marcus freezes, catching her whispered words. "I'm safe. Found someone real." She hangs up fast, her eyes meeting his. A flicker of something, relief, maybe guilt, crossing her face. "Who was that?" he asks, sharper than he means, his hand tightening on Sophie's doorframe. Elena opens her mouth, but before she can answer, tires screech outside, heavy and deliberate, cutting through the rain's drone. Marcus rushes to the window, heart pounding, and sees two black SUVs pull up, their tinted windows screaming money, power, trouble. Sophie stirs, her cough weaker now, and Marcus instinctively steps toward her, shielding her from whatever's coming. Elena's voice cuts through, calm but firm. "It's okay, Marcus. They're here for me." The garage door rattles, and footsteps echo, too many, too fast. Marcus's pulse races, his mind flashing to the monogrammed tag, the bruise, the phone call. Who is she? The door swings open, revealing a woman in a tailored gray coat, her face a mix of fear and relief, flanked by two men in suits. "Elena!" she gasps, voice breaking, and rushes forward, pulling Elena into a hug. Marcus stands frozen, Sophie's fevered breath in his ears, as Elena's eyes find his over her mother's shoulder, steady, promising answers. But not yet. Detroit's rain keeps falling, hiding the truth just a little longer, as Marcus braces for a world he never expected to touch his own. Detroit's morning air hangs heavy with rain, the storm's echo still rattling the loose panes of Marcus Hayes' garage as he stands frozen in the cluttered space below his apartment. The two black SUVs outside gleam under the drizzle, their presence as out of place as a diamond in a junkyard. Marcus, 38, grips his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie's fevered hand, her small form curled against him, her cough softer but relentless, a reminder of the $200 rent looming and the empty fridge upstairs. Moments ago, Elena Voss, the stranger he let sleep on his couch, answered a knock that brought a woman in a tailored gray coat bursting through the door, her face crumpling with relief. "Elena, oh God, 4 days!" she cries, wrapping Elena in a fierce hug, her voice thick with tears. "We thought you were lost forever." Marcus's heart pounds, his grease-stained fingers tightening around Sophie's, as Elena, 29, stands calm but weary, her bruised shoulder barely hidden by the clean shirt she borrowed from his closet. Her backpack, monogrammed EV, rests by the couch, its secret spilling open like the newspaper clipping he glimpsed earlier, a headline about a missing heiress. Elena's eyes meet his, steady, almost apologetic, as she says, "Marcus, you passed." "Passed what?" His mind reels, the weight of her words clashing with the chaos unfolding. The woman, Catherine Voss, he'll soon learn, pulls back, her gaze shifting to Marcus, confused, then to Sophie, softening with concern. "Who's this?" "Nixes," she asks, but Elena steps forward, her voice cutting through the tension. "He's the one who helped me. No questions, no demands." Marcus blinks, piecing together fragments, the soup he gave her, his last can, the couch he offered while Sophie burned with fever, the phone call at dawn when Elena whispered, "Found someone real?" Catherine's eyes widen, darting between them, and Elena explains, her tone firm but raw. "I ran, Mom. I needed to know who'd see me, not my name, not our money. Marcus did." Catherine's face shifts, shock, pride, then something heavier, like gratitude laced with guilt. Marcus feels the ground tilt, his Detroit world of oil stains and overdue bills colliding with something bigger, something he can't grasp. "You're Voss Tech?" he asks, voice rough, recalling the clipping, the tech giant's name tied to AI and billions. Catherine nods, her coat pristine against the garage's grime. "I'm Catherine Voss, CEO. Elena's my daughter." Marcus's knees weaken, but Sophie's cough anchors him, her heat pressing through his shirt. He wants to ask why, how, but Elena's gaze holds him, promising truth. Then she moves, deliberate, placing a sleek black card on his workbench, its edges catching the dim light. "Sophie needs a hospital, Marcus," she says, her voice a quiet command. "Now!" Before he can protest, the garage door clanks again, and two medics in crisp uniforms appear, a stretcher between them, IV bags glinting like hope he's never touched. Marcus's breath catches. Hospitals mean bills, debt he's already drowning in, but Elena's hand grazes his arm, brief, grounding. "Best care in Michigan. My turn to give." Outside, a helicopter's roar grows, its blades slicing the rain, kicking up grit and old receipts across the lot. Marcus lifts Sophie, her toy car clutched in her limp hand, the one he fixed with a screwdriver when she was 5, a symbol of the life he's fought to hold together. The medics move fast, strapping Sophie in, her eyes fluttering, too weak to question. Marcus follows, dazed, as Elena directs the scene, her soaked sneakers swapped for boots someone handed her, her posture now sharp, authoritative, not the lost girl from last night, but someone who commands fleets of SUVs and choppers. "You coming?" She calls over the noise, her hair whipping in the wind, and Marcus glances back at his garage, its sagging roof and unpaid bills, a cage he's lived in too long. Sophie's stretcher rolls toward the chopper, and he nods, voice lost in the thunder. "I'm coming!" The medics secure Sophie, her small frame swallowed by white sheets, and Marcus climbs aboard, grease still under his nails, heart hammering as the ground falls away. Detroit shrinks below, a maze of struggle he's navigated alone, now pierced by a truth he can't unsee. Elena's not just a runaway, and his one act of kindness, offering a couch and a can of soup, has cracked open a door to a world he never dreamed of touching. As the chopper banks toward Pinnacle Medical, Sophie's toy car slips from her hand, rolling toward Marcus, its tiny wheels catching the light, a reminder of what he's fighting for. Elena's card burns in his pocket, and he wonders what passing her test really means. The rain-soaked city below, hiding answers he's not ready for, but can't turn back from. The helicopter's roar fades as it touches down on the rooftop of Pinnacle Medical, Detroit's skyline a jagged blur under the clearing storm. Marcus Hayes, 38, steps out, his work boots heavy on the helipad, grease-stained hands clutching the black card Elena Voss gave him moments ago in his garage. His 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, is whisked away on a stretcher, her fevered face pale but calm, her toy car, a keepsake he fixed years ago, tucked against her chest, its tiny wheels still as medics rush her to the ICU. Marcus follows, heart pounding, the sterile air sharp against his skin, so different from the oil-soaked grit of Hayes repairs. Elena, 29, walks beside him, no longer the drenched stranger who knocked on his door last night, but a woman with purpose, her borrowed shirt swapped for a clean jacket, her bruise-shadowed eyes steady with resolve. They reach a plush waiting room, its leather chairs and soft lighting a world apart from his crumbling apartment, and Marcus sinks into a seat, the card's weight burning in his pocket. "What the hell's happening?" he asks, voice rough, his mind replaying the morning. Elena's whispered phone call. Found someone real. The SUVs, Catherine Voss's tearful hug, and the bombshell. Elena, daughter of Vostech's billionaire CEO, testing kindness by running from her gilded life. Elena sits across from him, her monogrammed backpack, EV, at her feet, the newspaper clipping about her disappearance, now a vivid memory in Marcus's head. "I owe you answers," she says, her voice calm but raw. "My mom runs Vostech. AI, satellites, billions. I left to see the world without my name, to find out who'd help a nobody. You did, Marcus. You gave me your couch, your last soup, while Sophie was burning up. That's not common." Marcus stares, his calloused fingers tracing the card's edge, his debts flashing, $10,000 to the bank, $200 for rent, a shop barely breathing. So I was what? A test? He snaps, anger flaring, the image of Sophie's fevered coughs clashing with Elena's wealth. Her eyes soften, not defensive, but earnest. No game, Marcus. I was lost, scared, bruised, alone. You didn't ask who I was, didn't demand a dime. You were real when I needed it most. He paces, boots scuffing the polished floor, Detroit struggles screaming in his head, nights skipping meals, fixing cars for half price to keep clients, Lila leaving when the Bills won. You could have been anybody, he mutters. A thief, a liar. Why me? Elena leans forward, her gaze unflinching. I didn't choose you. Fate did. And I'm glad. Before he can answer, a doctor steps in, her scrubs crisp, voice steady. Mr. Hayes, Sophie's responding to treatment. The fever's breaking. She's stable. Marcus exhales, a tear escaping, relief flooding like rain after drought. He sees Sophie through a glass window, her cheeks less flushed, clutching her toy car, a faint smile breaking through. The doctor adds, she's getting the best care, no expense spared. Marcus turns to Elena, her phone already in hand, mid-dial. What now? He asks, voice thick, sensing the card's promise isn't just about Sophie. I'm making a call, she says, her tone a quiet vow. Your life changes today. She steps aside, speaking low. Words like investment and project drift back. But Marcus barely hears, his eyes locked on Sophie's window, her toy car glinting under hospital lights, a symbol of the life he's bled for. Elena hangs up, her expression unreadable but certain. You gave me shelter when you had nothing, she says. Now I'm giving back. Marcus shakes his head, overwhelmed, the clipping's headline, missing heiress, burning in his mind. I didn't do it for this, he says, gesturing at the room, the chopper, her power. I know, Elena replies, a small smile breaking through. That's why it matters. He thinks of his garage, its sagging roof, the unpaid bills stacked like bricks, and Sophie's coughs that kept him awake while Elena slept on his couch. Gratitude wars with disbelief. He offered a stranger one night's kindness, not expecting it to ripple this far, this fast. The card in his pocket feels heavier, not with debt, but possibility. And he wonders what Elena's call will bring, what change means for a man who's only ever fixed what's broken. Outside, Detroit's clouds part, sunlight glinting off wet streets, but Marcus doesn't see it. His world is Sophie's steady breath, Elena's quiet promise, and a door cracking open to something he never dared dream. The toy car in Sophie's hand catches his eye again, its scratched paint a reminder of small fixes that hold lives together, and he braces for whatever comes next, knowing one choice in the rain has rewritten his story. Sunlight spills through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Pinnacle Medical's conference room, casting Detroit's skyline in a golden haze, but Marcus Hayes, 38, feels like an outsider in this polished world. His grease-stained hands, still raw from years at Hayes Repairs, rest awkwardly on the sleek mahogany table. The black card Elena Voss gave him, now tucked in his pocket, its weight a reminder of the morning's whirlwind. Just hours ago, he was in his crumbling garage, offering a drenched stranger. Elena, 29, runaway daughter of Vostech's billionaire CEO, Catherine Voss, his last can of soup and a couch, while his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, battled a fever. Now, Sophie's stable in the ICU, her toy car clutched tight, its tiny wheels a symbol of Marcus's relentless fight to fix their broken life. Elena sits across from him, flanked by 2 Vostech aides with tablets, her bruised shoulder hidden under a crisp blazer, her eyes steady with purpose. The helicopter ride, Catherine's tearful reunion, and Elena's revelation that she fled to test human kindness, landing at Marcus's door, still spin in his mind, clashing with the $10,000 debt and unpaid rent waiting back home. We've got an offer, Marcus, Elena says, her voice clear, cutting through the hum of hospital machines echoing from Sophie's room. A new garage, 5 bays, state-of-the-art tech, fully funded for 5 years. You'd lead Hayes Honest Repairs, a national chain built on fair service. Pick your team, train them, make it yours. Marcus laughs, a short, stunned sound, his calloused fingers rubbing his brow. Me? I'm a nobody, Elena. I fix cars, not this. He gestures at the room, its wealth a far cry from his Detroit reality of skipped meals and half-price repairs to keep clients coming. Elena leans forward, unflinching. You're the guy who gave me everything, shelter, food, when you had nothing to spare. That's not nobody, that's somebody. An aide, a woman with sharp glasses, slides a tablet toward him, data glowing. Reviews of Hayes Repairs, 5 stars. Clients calling him honest to a fault. Notes on his refusal to overcharge despite a sinking business. You've turned down buyouts, she says. Why? Marcus shifts, uncomfortable under their gaze, thinking of Sophie's coughs, the toy car he mended when she cried for her mom, Lila, who left them drowning. It's not about money, he says finally. It's about doing right, getting folks back on the road without robbing them blind. People are struggling enough. Elena's smile is small, real, like she sees the man behind the grease. Exactly why it's you, she says. Kindness like yours, it spreads. Let's make it a movement. Marcus's chest tightens, his mind flashing to Sophie's pale face, now brighter with elite care, funded by Elena's card, and the newspaper clipping he saw, missing heiress, tying her to a world of billions. What's in it for you? He asks, voice low, wary of traps forged in fine print. Elena's gaze doesn't waver. You reminded me what matters, giving without expecting. I want others to feel that, to trust a shop like yours anywhere in America. He paces, boots scuffing the pristine floor, thinking of his garage's sagging roof, the eviction notice taped to his door, the toy car Sophie holds like a lifeline. No catch? He probes, Detroit's hard lessons screaming caution. Elena grins, a spark of mischief breaking through. Just one condition, don't say no. I've already told my team you're in. The aides nod, tablets ready, and Marcus feels the room shrink, the weight of Sophie's future, his future, pressing down. He thinks of the soup, the couch, the rain-soaked night he chose to help a stranger, not knowing she'd crack his world open. For Sophie, he says, voice thick, extending his hand. Elena shakes it, her grip firm, warm, a silent pact sealed. The aide beside her unveils a sketch, a gleaming garage, its sign bold, Sophie's strength. Marcus's throat catches, the name a tribute to his daughter's fight, her toy car's scratched paint now a beacon. That's mine? He whispers, disbelief warring with hope. Yours, Elena says, because you earned it. Outside, Detroit's streets hum, the storm gone, sunlight glinting off wet pavement like a promise. Marcus's hand lingers on the sketch, Sophie's smile through the ICU window burning in his mind. Her toy car a reminder that small fixes can hold a life together. The card in his pocket feels lighter now, not a debt, but a door. And he knows this offer, born from one night's kindness, isn't just a garage, but a legacy he never dared dream. Rooted in a city that's always demanded he fight for every inch. Detroit's heart pulses with late morning light as Marcus Hayes, 38, turns the key to Hayes Honest Repairs, a gleaming new garage that feels like a dream stitched into reality. The building hums with promise. 5 polished bays, hydraulic lifts, purring, digital diagnostics flashing on screens he once saw only in trade magazines. Above the entrance, a sign glows. Sophie's Strength, a tribute to his 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, whose fever broke weeks ago at Pinnacle Medical, her toy car now a talisman of their survival. Marcus stands in a crisp navy uniform, grease still faint under his nails, the weight of his old life, $10,000 in debt, a crumbling shop, unpaid rent, replaced by something heavier. Hope. Just a month ago, he offered Elena Voss, 29, a couch and his last can of soup, not knowing she was the runaway daughter of Voss Tech's billionaire CEO Catherine Voss, testing kindness in a world she'd fled. Her gratitude transformed his world. Sophie's elite care, debts cleared, this garage, all sparked by a rainy night's choice. Now, Sophie darts through the bays, her laughter bright, her cheeks flushed with health, no longer the pale girl coughing through sleepless nights. Marcus watches her, heart full, but unease lingers. This shine, this chance, feels borrowed, like a suit too big for his frame. Clients trickle in, old faces from his rundown shop, awestruck at the glass-walled waiting room, its espresso machine hissing. "Heard you're the guy from Channel 7, a mechanic named Ray says, grinning. "Detroit's Good Samaritan, huh?" Marcus shrugs, heat creeping up his neck. Elena orchestrated the TV spot, framing his story. A single dad who helped a stranger, now running a chain built on trust. It's true, but the spotlight chafes, his calloused hands more at home with wrenches than praise. Sophie tugs his sleeve, holding her toy car, its scratched paint a reminder of nights he fixed what he could when life broke around them. "Is this really ours, Daddy?" she asks, eyes wide. He nods, throat tight, thinking of the newspaper clipping he saw in Elena's monogrammed backpack, Missing Heiress, and how one act flipped his world. By afternoon, his ex, Lila, appears, her coat too thin for Detroit's chill, eyes tracing the garage with disbelief. It's yours?" she asks, voice small, the same hesitance she wore when she left 3 years ago, crushed by their debts. Marcus meets her gaze, no anger left, only pity for the life they couldn't save. "Yeah," he says. "Things changed." Lila nods, glancing at Sophie, who waves shyly. "I saw the news," she says. "Didn't think you'd—" "I'm glad, Marcus." He lets the words hang, some wounds too deep for fixing, like the old wrench he found polished on display in the office. His first tool from a decade ago, now a quiet nod to the grind that brought him here. As evening falls, Marcus climbs to the garage roof, the city's hum softer now, its skyline jagged but warm under dusk. Elena joins him, no blazer, just jeans and a sweater, carrying 2 mugs of cocoa. Real, not the powdered kind he's known forever. She hands him one, her bruise faded, her eyes carrying the weight of her own journey. "Settling in?" she asks, settling beside him, their shoulders close. Marcus sips, the warmth grounding him. "Trying. Still feels like I'm dreaming." He pauses, the wrenches shine in his mind, Sophie's toy car glinting in her pocket downstairs. "That test of yours, was it just me, Elena?" Her smile fades, thoughtful. "It was me, too. I was running from expectations, from billions that felt like chains. You reminded me what matters, giving when it hurts, no strings. I needed to see that, to be that." Detroit's lights flicker below, and Marcus feels her words settle, heavy but true, like the moment he offered her soup while Sophie coughed. Their hands brush, not planned, but right. A spark of something beyond gratitude, not yet named. "You didn't have to do all this," he says, gesturing to the garage, the sign, Sophie's tutor waiting inside, all funded by Elena's vision. She shakes her head. "You gave me a home for a night when you had nothing. I'm just returning the favor." He looks at her, really looks, seeing not the heiress from the clipping, but the woman who saw him, grease, debts, and all, and stayed. The cocoa cools, the city breathes, and Marcus knows this roof, this moment, holds more than a garage. It's a bridge from his past to a future he's only beginning to trust, built on one choice in the rain that neither of them will ever outrun. 3 months later, Detroit's downtown buzzes with energy as the second branch of Hayes Honest Repairs opens its doors, the air thick with the scent of fresh paint and coffee from a nearby food truck. Marcus Hayes, 38, stands off to the side, his navy jacket crisp but his hands still rough from years at the wrench, watching a crowd of locals, reporters, and city officials gather under the glowing sign. Sophie's strength. His 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, now vibrant and healthy, darts through the scene, her toy car, scratched with hope in honor of Marcus's late mom, clutched tight, its tiny wheels a quiet reminder of their journey. Just months ago, Marcus was scraping by above his failing garage, offering a rain-soaked stranger, Elena Voss, his last soup and a couch while Sophie fought a fever. He didn't know Elena, 29, was the runaway daughter of Vostech's billionaire CEO, Catherine Voss, testing human kindness. That single act, born of grit, not greed, led to Sophie's elite care, a gleaming garage, and a national initiative, all sparked by a night he chose to give when he had nothing. Today, Elena stands beside him, not in a power suit, but jeans, her smile warm as she nudges him. "This is yours, Marcus," she says, gesturing to the bays humming with new hires he's trained. He shakes his head, voice low. "Ours." A gruff man, tire marks on his boots, approaches, eyeing Marcus skeptically. "You the owner? No scams here, right?" Marcus meets his gaze, steady. "Never. Bring your truck by." The man nods, walking off, and Elena grins. Those small trusts mean more than any headline. Inside the lounge, Marcus spots the old couch from that rainy night, now reupholstered, a quiet anchor in this new world. Sophie hands him her toy car, giggling, and he sees the word hope etched deeper, tying his mom's memory to the strength that carried them here. Later, as the crowd thins, Marcus and Elena sit on that couch, the garage quiet now, Detroit's lights twinkling through glass walls. "I'm staying," Elena says, her hand finding his, not out of obligation but choice. "Starting something here, with you, new projects, new purpose." Marcus's heart skips, their fingers lacing, a bond forged not in wealth but truth. A letter slipped under his door last week comes to mind. From his estranged dad, found via the Channel 7 story, Elena pitched, "Saw you on TV, son. Proud." Marcus hasn't replied, but the words sit heavy, like the polished wrench on his desk. His first tool, a bridge to a past he's learning to forgive. Elena's eyes meet his, and he sees her, not the heiress from the clipping he glimpsed in her monogrammed backpack, but the woman who saw him when he was invisible. "Didn't think a couch could do all this," he murmurs, half laughing. She leans closer. "It wasn't the couch. It was you." The lessons settle, clear as Detroit's skyline. Kindness, given freely, ripples beyond sight. Worth isn't measured in dollars, but in what you do when no one's watching. And trust, once offered, can rebuild not just a life, but a world. Marcus looks at Sophie, now asleep upstairs in their new apartment, her toy car by her pillow, and feels his mom's hope alive in her smile. Elena's hand stays in his, and he knows he's no hero, just a man who cared enough to act, and that was enough to change everything. Detroit hums outside, its struggles unchanged, but its heart a little brighter, because one night's choice showed what's possible when you give without expecting back. Don't miss stories like this. Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and join us to share the moments that remind us what it means to be human.